Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSI DFS Fantasy NFL Picks. I'm your Smegro 31. Happy Thanksgiving. Thankful for all of you who are watching the videos. And if you're thankful for FSI and what we do here, you can just like this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and share with your friends. So hopefully you're having a great holiday, and about ready to look at some football games for tomorrow. Got 3 of them, which is cool. I was kind of scared when I saw that they're having that Amazon Prime game on Friday. I thought there would be no Sunday night or Thursday night one, but actually have a decent game for that, plus the bonus game on Black Friday. So I'll probably have a separate video for that, and then we'll have one for all the games that are left on Sunday. So stay tuned to our channel. I'll check those things out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll just run through game by game, and I'll give you like kind of a, you see up on the screens, showdown thoughts. And then when I've gone through all those, and I'll just switch over and I'll look at some classic builds. So first game, Green Bay and Detroit. In Detroit, 46.5 total. So decent total. I think actually most of these games, most of these games have a decent total. So it should be some good offense. Detroit's favored by 7.5. Packers side, they're pretty banged up. Jordan Love actually had a better game last week. He's been erratic, young quarterback, and a lot of injuries on the team and stuff, so that doesn't help. It looks like that we're not going to have to worry about Jones this week. He sprained his MCL, so it's not a season-ending thing, but he might be out for a while. So AJ Dillon potentially is there, but we're not sure if he's going to play. So it looks like Patrick Taylor could potentially get the start if Dillon can't go. And then beyond him, I think on FanDuel, there's only like one Green Bay running back or maybe DK. There's not many running backs that are actually healthy and in the player pool. So we'll have to see what happens there. But I think if Taylor's the one that does get the start, it's going to be like instant value. And not that he's going to do good, but to have a starting running back that cheap, I think a lot of people might use them to try to get to some of this higher priced players on the slate. Wide receivers always a hard one here. You have Watson, who should be their best guy in deep threat, and he's dealing with his own injuries. Reed has been solid, and Dubes also. I think, again, I talked about in last week's video, like some of these teams is like a scratch-off lottery ticket. If you get the right one, you could be great, but I don't know. So I think between the 3 of them, if I had to pick one, I think Reed or Dubes would be my favorite. Watson's still in play. And then in the tight end situation, I feel bad because Musgrave looks like a great rookie tight end. He keeps on getting injured. Now he's on the injured reserve list with back or some kind of injury. So Tucker Kraft looks like he's going to get the start. So again, Green Bay really is in trouble depth-wise. So they got to, if they're actually going to score any points, then I think it's going to be through Love, Watson, Reed, or Dubes. Those are probably going to be where to go, but I'm not super confident on it. Lions side of the ball. Goff really struggled at home through 3 picks, and they came back and won the game, but it wasn't pretty. Hopefully he bounces back for this. Green Bay's defense hasn't been great, so I think he'll be fine. The running back situation, you have Gibbs and Montgomery pretty much a 50-50. But again, I think it goes to how's the game script going to go. And I think because they're behind last week, Gibbs got more shares of things. But if they get way ahead of Green Bay, I think Montgomery is going to be the hammer here. So, just pick which way. And I think there's a pathway for both. I wouldn't play both in the same lineup. But again, you're trying to, I don't really think it's going to be like a cash day anyways, but if you are playing cash, I think probably Gibbs has the more upside and floor there, unless you're like building your line to be that Detroit's gonna be ahead, you're not playing much Green Bay, and that Montgomery's just gonna be the hammer. St. Brown's definitely in play. Great target for Goff there. Jameson Williams, like he's the home run threat. He's the YOLO play usually on most slates, because if he catches one, it's probably deep. It's probably a lot of points, and it doesn't really hurt you if he doesn't. He's only 3-4, and I did build a cash lineup with McCaffrey in it, and he was I threw him in as like the last guy in, just at his price point. It just made things work. Josh Reynolds, the rest of People Jones, Khalif Raymond, I just don't think you're going to see anything more than like a couple catches for them potentially, and probably not going to hit 5 DK points. Sam Laporta is a great tight end. I really like him. I think Ferguson's probably going to be a chalk on the slate, but Laporta could be a nice pivot off of him. If you have the money to pay up, it's going to be kind of hard if you're trying to get like McCaffrey and some of the Cowboys in your lineup. So you have to pick and choose there. And Wright and Mitchell, not super interested in. So St. Brown or Gibbs, I think, is going to be the captain for cash in Showdown. I go run back with Goff, and then Carlson is the kicker that I'm going to go with Green Bay. And then GPP, Montgomery, and the Lions D, again, going with that game script where that Detroit gets ahead. So I'll probably have like Goff and try to get Goff and St. Brown in the same lineup there, and then Dubes to run it back with, and then whatever cheap punt fills the rest of the lineup to make that work. Next game, Washington Commanders, Dallas Cowboys, 48.5 total, highest total on the slate. Dallas is favored by 12.5. Washington's so bad they lost to Tommy DeVito and the Giants, but I think they're kind of giving it into this year and realize they got a rookie quarterback. They're not going to play the playoff. They traded away their defensive players who they probably might not be able to re-sign next season at the trading deadline. So they really don't have much of a pass rush. Dallas has been clicking, it seems like, on all cylinders. So everything points to this should be a blowout like I expected. So Howell, I think he's going to have some ownership in Classic just because of the passing volume that's been there. The backfield, Robinson's been solid. Rodriguez was filling in for Gibson, but he had some fumbling issues. So even if Gibson's out, I don't think that he's that trustworthy. You might see a committee of 2 other guys with him. If Gibson's back, it kind of waters down Brian Robinson, but I wouldn't play Gibson at all. I don't think he's going to get probably 5 to 7 points, maybe. Wide receivers, again, this is another mud puddle. McLaurin was the clear-cut one, and with Samuel out, Dotson had some volume, but now it's McLaurin still leads, but Dotson and Samuel are starting to eat into that. So, and I wouldn't play Brown, Pringle, or Jamison Crowder. Logan Thomas is a really good tight end. He falls into the mix too with McLaurin, Dotson, and Samuel. So I just have to figure out who Howell's going to throw to, if he's going to have time with the pass rush to throw the ball. So in Showdown here, I'll get to that in a second. Let's go to Dallas breakdown. Dak, I think, is going to be a top play on the slate. It's going to be Dak or Purdy. A lot of people are going to pick further QB in Classic. Pollard, I think people are still, he had a good week last week, but they really didn't need a running game like 2 weeks ago. Last week, he got most of it because Dowdle was dealing with ankle injury that he suffered late in practice. He did suit up and play. He's still dealing with it, so we'll have to see how that plays out. But I really think that down the road, like, Pollard just doesn't have the explosiveness, but when Dowdle, if his ankle is healed, is going to be kind of the role that Pollard had last year, and then Pollard's kind of turning into Ezekiel Elliott last year is the theory that my one of my managers I work with at work gave me, and I think that might be kind of sound. So we'll have to see as the ankle heals, like how that plays out. So Pollard, I think, is definitely in play. If Dowdle looks good, then in GPPs as like a cheap flyer, I think you can go there and then Showdown. Wide receiving core, I think Lamb's going to be one of the top receivers on the slate. Obviously, Brandon Cooks has improved a lot. Michael Gallup, I would kind of cross off because it seems like Jalen Tolbert has kind of taken his snap share away from him. And Turpin and Brooks, I just probably wouldn't play. Ferguson, like I said, his price point is probably going to be the number 1 tight end on the slate when it's, he's had a good run recently also with the Dallas offense clicking. So I think he's definitely someone to play. If I'm looking in Showdown, I'm going to play Lamb as captain and Dak. And then again, I'm just going to take the kicker from Washington just to run it back. Turpin if I want to value. GPP, it's kind of the same thing as Detroit. I'm going to play Pollard as running back, Dallas D, McLaurin, Dowdle might be a great one to throw in there as as a cheap piece there. Probably try to get like Dak and Lamb, and they're also thinking that they get ahead and they start handing off to Pollard and Dowdle and the D, and then whoever is cheap enough to run it backward is McLaurin's who I'm picking. But if you need somebody cheaper, like Dotson or Samuel or Logan Thomas, and that works too. Final game, we have San Francisco and the Seattle Seahawks. In Seattle, 43.5 total. San Francisco favored by 7. Might go higher if Geno Smith is ruled out. We'll have to keep an eye on that. San Francisco side, Brock Purdy is a decent game manager quarterback, but he's good with all the weapons. He's a good way to get exposure to the offense. So, he's not one that has like, I mean, he's got a little rushing upside out here and there and stuff, but he's definitely not going to put up numbers like the Dak or Goff potentially could. But he's there and he's in the mid-range in pricing, so I think it'll be popular. McCaffrey, if you can get up to him, is obviously the best play on the slate any time. And just the usage and everything that he can do and how he's matchup proof and featured in the offense is just great. Mitchell really hasn't eaten much into McCaffrey's time as we thought he would towards the end of the season, try to give him rest. But this is a division game. They do need to kind of win this. But if they do get like way ahead, then maybe McCaffrey doesn't quite get there, and Mitchell comes in and takes away towards the end some of the garbage time runs just to kind of spell McCaffrey. But it doesn't seem like Christian McCaffrey is human. He just keeps on going and going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. Wide receivers, Ayuk definitely is even with Samuel back, Ayuk is clear cut outscoring him and out catching him. But I think Samuel's still there. Jennings, a decent punt, like there's some chance there. Bell and McLeod, I just think again it's just like trying to capture lightning in battle. Kittle I don't like as much as a tight end at his price point. I'd rather, if I'm paying Laporte, because Kittle, he just isn't featured when everybody's there. He's more of a blocker and isn't really a focus so as much. So I'm probably GPPs, he's great. Showdown, he's great, but I'm probably not playing him in Classic. Seattle side, if Geno Smith doesn't play, then I don't know if you want to take a shot at their backup. That's fine. He played okay in the last game when he had to come in. Now he's probably had some practice time, but the biggest thing is like Walker's probably out, so Charbonnet is finally going to get a start here. So I think he's going to be super chalky just because he's pretty cheap. But DJ Dallas and Kenny McIntosh are his backups, so there's some other cheap pieces if you think that they might go to them. But again, San Francisco got a decent defense, so I just think again you're just trying to catch lightning in the bottle, just like trying to scrape the bottom of the barrel for those third, fourth, and fifth wide receivers for San Francisco. Pass catching, Metcalf has led the receiving core again with a new quarterback. You don't know how the targets are going to go. He's kind of more of the deep threat, and might be more of a Lockett or a Najigba day where you're looking for somebody like in the slot or running like shorter routes, just if there's not going to be time with the San Francisco pass rush coming at a quarterback that's not used to starting as he tries to find his footing. So I have to look at that. Bobo might be a dart out there as the fourth wide receiver, especially because Metcalf, Lockett have both been banged up and had their issues throughout the season. If something else flares up or they're not 100%, then Bobo could step out. And then Fant and Disley, the tight ends, like I don't see either one of them breaking 5 points. I mean, usually with like a backup quarterback, that's kind of a safety blanket. But again, you're just trying to figure out which flipping a coin as to which one's going to get the target share out of those two. So in Showdown, like I think McCaffrey's got to be your captain, and then go to Purdy just the exposure to the wide receivers and run it back with Charbonnet. And that's a pretty solid cash core there. If you want to save some money, Jennings, I think, is the punt I'd go with. And if you want to flip the script, Metcalf, Geno, or whoever the quarterback for Seattle is, and then run it back with Ayuk. And then again, Dallas might be a cheap if he comes in to spell Charbonnet. I think he's only a couple $100, so that'll help you get what you need into your lineup. But if you're building that way, you should be able to get whoever you want to in pretty much anyway. So those are the 3 games. Let's switch tabs here and look at how we built. So like I said, I don't know why it says Dallas, should say Dak. So Dak's going to be my QB1 here in cash. Again, if you want to go Purdy, it does open up some savings for you, so that's fine. Then decide if you want McCaffrey. If not, Gibbs, I think, is a solid one. Charbonnet is this run being back 2. And then Lamb, and then fill-ins. I liked, you got some really reasonable Green Bay guys. Just trying to get the right one in cash might be, I think they'll be pretty popular. Jigba might be decent at his price point. One of the Washington guys. I see a lot of people on Cook also, but that way, like, if I did that, I just ended up with like way too much Dallas, and there's only one football. So I get it if you're trying to go with a capture method, but in cash, I really think that's not a great strategy. So so I'll let you figure out who you want for the wide receivers. Ferguson is my tight end. Kraft is super cheap. I have him as the tight end of the GPP, but if you want to throw him in the flex and give some more money for wide receivers, that's fine. And then your defense, Dallas or Detroit, they're only a couple hundred apart. If you get up to Dallas, that's great. If not, then Detroit's fine too. For GPP, give me Goff and Montgomery. Probably would make sense if I'm going that route to put the Detroit defense in there, but I left it open just to give you some options as if you want to go up to Dallas, if you want to throw San Francisco in to be different, or just punt a defense just to have a defense, and that's fine. I even toyed with Green Bay in some builds and GPPs just because if Goff had all those interceptions last week, maybe they pick off a couple more, maybe run one back as pick 6, and then it pays that off. And it's probably low owned there. And sometimes all defenses just end up, even though you've got some decent spreads here, sometimes defenses end up like scoring the same amount of points anyways on a slate. So for running back, again, like if I go Montgomery and I go some one-off one, then I'd probably go Detroit. If I try to get like Pollard in there, then I'd probably go Dallas and pair him up. But here's where I'm going to put Cooks. I'm going to play St. Brown to pair with Goff. Metcalf, I think I really want to play there to get some Seattle exposure, and then Kraft at the tight end. If you want to go Laporta to put with Montgomery, that works also. For GPP, I might look for also playing a Washington stack, just because we've seen Dallas sometimes not rise to the occasion on Thanksgiving Day. There have been many times where I thought Dallas was absolutely going to destroy their opponent, and it just hasn't happened. So I don't know if it's a holiday, if they celebrate early and are kind of hungover, if they're looking forward to the meal, looking past the game, underestimated their opponent. I've just seen it happen so many times throughout my life that I always kind of play a hedge against Dallas stack in a GPP on Thanksgiving Day. For FanDuel, it's pretty much similar. Gonna go. I don't know why I carried bunch. I hate how the sheet sometimes auto corrects things. I apologize for it. So Dak, CMC and Gibbs, Charbonnet length, same thing there. Ferguson tight end, but Detroit, like Dallas defense is like 1,000 more, I think, than Detroit, and I just couldn't get up to them in my build, so I'm going with that. For GPP, same thing. But I definitely put the Dallas defense there. I'm going to have the money for it in GPP. Goff, Montgomery, Pollard, and Dallas. Just put those together. St. Brown and Cook, and then Kraft is a cheap tight end, and that helps you get 2 decent spots for wide receiver and flex. And I'm okay. It's such a small slate. Like San Francisco stack's fine. Also, I think the alternate leverage stack would be like a Green Bay stack, and just hope that, you get the right couple of wide receivers and Kraft, and maybe Detroit does struggle, or it turns into a shootout or something. So that's what I got for you. So I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time with your family and friends. Be thankful for all that you have, and check out the channel. I'll have a short video for the Friday showdown slate, and then probably Saturday night for the full Sunday slate coming up. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat below or hit me up at MegaRoth31 on Twitter, formerly or X, formerly Twitter. And more information on FSI DFS is in the description of the video. You can go in there, check it out on Black Friday. In our social media, we'll have some sales on our different products and stuff there to kind of help you out when you're spending money on other things for the holiday season, to be able to afford some good coverage of DFS that we offer you. So thanks for watching. Happy Thanksgiving. Good luck in your contests, and I'll see you next time.